lot of build crafting, and I think I came up with what I think is the best or easiest starter build for anybody. It's a lot of fun, and I've been looking at a lot of builds on YouTube or other places online, and I found them all lackluster. You're locked into using certain weapons or whatever. This one, I'm going to use the Death's Poker, but you don't have to. You can certainly use any other weapons. I just found this to be the most effective for what we're going for. So, without getting too far into it, this is going to be a quality, intelligence, and faith build. And we're going to transform our starting class Vagabond into the Shepherd. So, I've selected about 20 things we're going to do in this first stream. And after that, I'll cut it off and get the next stream ready to roll. Typically, I wouldn't start streaming until I get to Church of Ella or beyond, but it just makes sense. I want to show you guys, out the gate, I literally have nothing. And so anybody can do this. Just gonna hurry this along here. Important to note, I won't be grabbing every item. I'm going to grab what's important for our build, just to get it done for you guys and get you on your way. I have built this already on another character. I got it all together, and I'm going off of that playthrough to kind of set things up to where you guys can go down this path to get everything that you need to make this build happen. So the first important thing we got to do is grab 3 sites of grace. So here's 1. On our way to the second site of grace outside of the graveyard there, we're going to grab a couple things. For you guys who like to co-op, you can get this right at the beginning and summon somebody in. So right here is an Erd leaf flower. You'll need 2 of those to craft a fur calling finger, golden rune, and another Erd leaf flower. Here's our second site of grace that will light. And now we're going to use the golden rune that we just picked up. Talk to Kale. And we'll purchase the crafting kit. Okay.
Goodbye.
So now, if you wanted to co-op, we can summon somebody in. Okay? That's not why I want to buy the crafting kit. I want to buy the crafting kit for sleeping pots later. So now we're going to get our third site of grace outside of the graveyard. So this will be our third site of grace, and we're going to sit, exhaust all the dialogue, and get Torrent.
Have you heard of the Finger Maidens? They serve, but you. I can play turning you to 80. You need own to the foot. Then it's summon me. Ah, I bequeath. It will summon Torrent. Treat him with...
So from here, we're going to grab the map fragment, and we're going to grab the whetstone. From here, we'll travel southeast. Travel southeast to this bonfire, or site of grace, whatever you want to call it. And then we're gonna go back to Church of Ella. We'll speak to Ronnie, and we'll get the spirit calling bell and the wolves.
This way, tarnished. May I apply and the witch? I'd heard and upon look the talk thou art possessed call forth. Ah, I was in strike torrent. 'Tis the best summon there, the spirits now it is that. I doubt how long will before the time.
We'll exhaust her dialogue, make her disappear. We'll sit, we'll change the time. Let's make it morning. Travel's easier. And then we're gonna warp back over to Gill Lake North. We'll get back on the road and travel southeast for a bit. We'll get across the bridge, and then we'll head northeast to the next site of grace. So here we are, headed northeast. We should run right into the grace site. Here we are. Grab the site of grace. I didn't mean to sit. And so now we'll go talk to Kennethite. It's along the path to what we're doing, so you might as well do it. It's not pertinent to this build by any means.
Is anybody there? Someone who might be interested in rescuing the great Kennethite? Well, that's so. Despite a might have young Tarnish, I want you to tonight. What my fault? Oh, fretness, I let depressed. Honestly, God first, then he, and to think. my fort.
He wants his fort back. So we're going to head north. And we're going to grab the sleeping pot recipe. And you can grab these runes if you want. It's not totally necessary, but we'll do it to do it. We're here. Why not? And this is the item we came for. It's going to allow us to craft sleeping pots, which are going to be huge later in the game for taking out bosses easy. So from here, we'll go back to Kenneth Heights' little overhang there, and we're going to continue east to the Third Church America, I believe. Yep. We're going to pick up the Sacred Tear. We're also going, where am I going? A Sacred Tear and our Wondrous Physic and the Site of Grace. So, there's the Wondrous Physic Flask and Crimson Crystal Tear. That's not important. Here's our Site of Grace. From here we'll travel like northwest-ish till we get to this little creek, and we're gonna go to through the teleporter over here to get into Caelid early. From here, we're gonna grab the Bestial Sanctum Site of Grace. And then we're gonna head south to grab a Golden Seed and another Site of Grace. So a lot of this first part of the run is just a lot of running, really. I mean, it's just that, running around, getting to where we need to be. So as long as we continue southeast, we'll run into another gray site. And this is the Farum Great Bridge Grace. Once we light that, we can run back up the hill slightly and hang a right. And take this east until we can't anymore. And then we're going to hang a right and continue south all the way to Lens Rise, Site of Grace. If you stay on the outer edge, you won't have to dodge poison pots. So we'll hit this Site of Grace, and then we'll jump up the Spirit Spring, grab a Memory Stone. This is going to be important for the build because we're going to be using or have access or want to have access to several different spells or incantations. And I've debated on whether or not I would be getting all the cracked pots and things like that all in one go, or how I was going to go about doing that. And I'm still kind of deciding. So once you pick up the Memory Stone, it's faster just to fast travel to Lens Rise Grace. than to jump back down. From here, we're going to hit the Spirit Spring again, but this time we're going to get on the western cliff there, to another little, I guess, graveyard. You can pick up the runes. I don't think that it's necessary, but they're here, so why not? We're going to continue traveling in a southwest direction towards the Surge Tree. We're not going to fight anything. We're just going to go around this Surge Tree avatar to another Spirit Spring so that we can hit the Fort Farah Site of Grace. I'm sure this part of the run everybody knows fairly well. There's so many guides on getting here and doing the things that you need to do. No need to stop and fight anything. We're just gonna run and do what we gotta do. Hopefully we don't get poisoned, but if we do, not a big deal. The important thing that we're grabbing is this Dectus Medallion. The bonus is going to be grabbing the rune and the talisman. Again, you don't have to. It's just cool if you do. There's the rune. So once we get this, we're gonna quit out to the main menu and load back in to reset the aggro. Once we're back in, just fast travel back to the Fort Farah. And from here, hop on Torrent and head west over the wall. To the Spirit Spring. Go down the Spirit Spring. If you just keep running straight, you'll run right into this Starlight Shard. You don't have to, but it just makes sense. We're over here, why not get it? That way you don't forget it exists. That'll take us to another sacred tier and a bonfire. Site of Grace, whichever you want to call it. We'll hop back on Torrent and head west until we can get back out onto the road. Once we're on the road, we're going to continue south to the big giant that throws pots at us. No need to interact with anything over here. We're still grossly underpowered. So once you see the giant, you're going to want to veer a little left of him, and we're going to jump down and hit another Site of Grace. This next part may take a few tries, even for me. After we hit the Site of Grace, we're going to sit and we're going to change the time of day to night. And we're going to try and cheese this Deathbird. I'm fairly certain, though, that if I went and got some cracked pots, we wouldn't have to cheese this guy. We could craft holy pots and kill him fairly easy. Let's change the time of day.
Forgive me to determine if you had. It seems torrent, whereas there is, but I can take gathering.
We're gonna hold off on going to a site of grace. We could go ahead and add our seed and our couple tiers that we've gotten. We can tell her when we want to go back and she'll take us, so. Pass time to night. So we're going to want to bait this guy towards this hill. He's going to one-shot you, more than likely. But as long as you stay somewhat close, we can bait him over to here. And once we're here, we can just let him kill himself. Like so. And so now we have the first item that we're going to use for our build. Let's see. From here, we're going to go talk to our boy Gowry. Well, not our boy, but you know. Talk to Gowry nonetheless. We'll exhaust his dialogue.
I need your name resting but when the earth administered for this, seek the needle. First it's hidden, then I will seek. First it's hidden, then I will the secret.
So once you exhaust it, we'll head like northwest and more north than west to the next site of grace. If you stay to the left, you won't have to engage anything or have anything engage you. You can jump over this house right to the Celia Understair Grace site, light it and sit down and get rid of whatever aggro you may have gotten. From here, we're going to get on Torrent and we're going to run and grab a golden seed. Here's the golden seed. We're going to light one of 3 towers. We'll drop down. We'll jump across to this roof and pick up our second item for the build. Get back on Torrent. And head over to the second of 3 towers. hop back on Torrent. We'll grab a stone sword key. And we'll grab another, well, the third of 3 towers. Assuming we don't die from this guy. Alright, from here, warp back to the Celia Understair. We're gonna grab a Spirit Ash. Not that we're gonna use it, but just so you have it. We'll continue up this way, and we'll hit the Celia Crystal Tunnel, Site of Grace, and we'll head back out. It just makes sense. It's along the path directly, so just grab it. It'll save you a stone sword key, I think, maybe later. From there, we'll run down to the beach, the coastline here. And we're gonna follow this until we see a big red bright bug. Upon seeing the big red bright bug, you're gonna take a right and go get an early Somber Smithing Stone 5. So our goal in getting these Somber Smithing Stones is to get a +9 Death's Poker early and a +10 Sacred Order seal. So once we head back out of here, we're going to see our red bright bug again, and we're going to keep traveling south past it to the next Site of Grace. Well, the bright bug disappeared, but nonetheless, we're still going to travel southeast to the Site of Grace. Once here, we're going to kill Commander O'Neill, I think his name is. Is that his name? Yeah, Commander O'Neill. So we initiate, then we hop back over by our Site of Grace, and we just kind of hang out and wait for him to get here. We're still at our starting level, level 9. We've already killed one boss and got the Death's Poker. And we went and got our second item that we're going to use for the build. The Staff of Loss. Important thing to note is we're never going to have to upgrade the staff, so we're going to save runes all around there. We're going to guide Commander O'Neill over these exploding rot spores. And hopefully kill them pretty quickly. And so there's no real pattern, but you want to kind of just get them to hang. Oh boy, there we go. That wasn't supposed to happen. This might take a minute. You got to find the pattern of the see the big chunk of damage that came off of them. So hopefully we can bait them to this one in time. There we go, another big chunk of damage. We'll get him in this one. He'll take some tick damage. Should be big damage. There we go. Once we get him to about half, he's going to summon some guys. Not a big deal. We kill them the same way we're killing him. There we go. And hopefully we can get him to stop on one of these while he summons, because then it'll hit him some more. Alright, not quite. Almost. So now we just take a quick look and be conscious of the dudes he summoned. So all this is just a big dodging game. This should do it. And then the dudes he summoned will go away. While we're here, it makes sense. Just go ahead and grab the Site of Grace. So we have no idea where the entrance to the DLC is going to be, right? So we want to have access to everywhere. From here, we're going to go back to Celia. No, we're not. We're going to go to Southern Aeonia Swamp. We're going to do two things. We're going to grab this map fragment, and then we're going to head back to Gowry. As long as you hug the mountain wall here, this dude will never hit you. Watch him hit me now. Make me an asshole. So, we're going to talk to Gowry. We're going to quit out after we exhaust his dialogue. We'll load back in. He'll give us a needle to give to Millicent, and we'll go do that.
As promised. Go on. Now, well, the work of a true. Can you give me as well? Can you give as well made?
See, he's asking for a moment with it, so we'll quit out to the menu. Once we load back in, we continue dialogue with him.
Millicent pretended to a wretched. Do you that I would show? Well, I'm the mere bitch she is, but the rotten I doubt it. Oh,
We'll exhaust his dialogue.
She's can't do so.
And then we'll fast travel to the Church of Plague. Once here, we can interact with Millicent.
My flesh, it is a
We'll give her the needle.
Never mind. I would rather than some. Would you mind?
Skip the cutscene, and then we'll sit. We'll talk to her. She'll give us a talisman that's unimportant to this build,
Not that I could ever.
but maybe important for a different build you have in mind.
Destiny. It's all thanks. My name is Millicent.
We'll sit again, and she disappears. Now we'll travel back to Southern Aeonia Swamp Bank. We should find Millicent standing in Gowry's shack. Gowry will be missing. We'll exhaust her dialogue and quit out to the menu and load back in, at which time she will disappear and Gowry will be there. When we interact with Gowry, we'll exhaust some dialogue, and then we're going to buy our first spell that is important for the build. When she must stay strong, that's our cue to go ahead and quit out.
Thank you kindly.
When we load back in, we'll continue dialogue with Gowry. Tell him Millicent paid a visit. And now we have access to Night Maiden's Mist. So we'll go ahead and buy that. And I believe that's all I have together for the stream, aside from leveling up. So I'll end the stream now. When we come back with the plan, we'll travel to the next gray site, and we'll level up and continue on with the build. Thanks for watching, and I hope you come back to watch again.